Hello everyone, welcome back to our channel. Today, we are going to learn about a story that will show you how a simple change in your mindset can completely transform your entire life. This narrative is inspired by the timeless principles of highly successful individuals like Elon Musk, Steve Jobs, and Jeff Bezos. In his famous book Think and Grow Rich, Napoleon Hill wrote a golden statement: "What you think about, you become." But if this truth is so powerful, why do millions of people around the world still struggle to break free from poverty? Do they fail to see their own potential? Or do they just stop trying? Today's deep and emotional story will uncover the answers to these critical questions. It will teach you a lesson that you can apply to your own goals today. So stay with us until the very end. I promise this video will be well worth your time. Let's begin. Once in a very busy, crowded and noisy railway station, there lived an old beggar. For many years, this station was his entire world. Every single day, from morning until night, he survived solely by asking passengers for alms. His daily survival depended entirely on the pity and kindness of strangers who passed by while waiting for their trains. He believed that he was born to be poor and that he could never change his destiny. One sunny afternoon, as he was scanning the platform for potential donors, he noticed a well-dressed businessman stepping onto the station platform. The businessman was wearing an expensive navy blue suit, polished leather shoes, and a luxury watch. His posture was confident, and his eyes were sharp. Seeing his wealthy appearance, the beggar's eyes lit up with greed and hope. He thought to himself, "This man must be incredibly rich. If I ask him for money, he will surely give me a very generous amount." With high hopes, the beggar rushed through the crowd, approached the businessman, and stretched out his dirty, trembling hand. He put on his saddest face and began begging for money. But instead of ignoring him or simply reaching into his pocket for a coin, the businessman stopped. He stood firmly, looked directly into the beggar's tired eyes, and asked a cold, shocking question: "Do you always just take from others? Have you ever given anything to anyone in your life?" The beggar was completely startled. In all his years of living at the station, thousands of people had ignored him or given him coins, but no one had ever asked him such a deep question before. Confused, embarrassed, and slightly angry, the beggar replied, "Sir, please look at me. I am just a poor, miserable beggar. I survive only by asking for alms. I have no home, no money, and no food. I have absolutely nothing of value to give to anyone." The businessman smiled slightly, his expression remaining calm but incredibly firm. He looked at the beggar's outstretched empty hand and said, "If you truly believe you have absolutely nothing to give to the world, then you also have no right to ask for anything from the world. Look at me. I am a professional businessman. My entire life and career are built on the law of exchange. If you can offer me something of value, I will happily give you money in return. But if you bring nothing to the table, I cannot give you anything either. Business does not work on pity, it works on value." Saying these words, the businessman turned around, boarded his first-class train carriage, and left. The train rolled away, but the businessman's words did not leave the platform. They remained trapped inside the beggar's mind. The beggar stood there completely stunned, unable to move or react. He kept replaying the conversation over and over again in his head. "I have been begging here for a decade," he thought deeply. "People have shouted at me and people have ignored me, but no one has ever told me the truth like this." He wasn't trying to be mean or rude. He was speaking a universal truth. "If I offer absolutely nothing in return to society, why should people give me their hard-earned money?" For the very first time in his entire life, the beggar realized the fatal flaw in his mindset. He understood that people never gave him much money because the transaction was entirely one-sided. That night, as he lay awake on the cold concrete floor of the station, the businessman's voice kept echoing like thunder in his mind. "If you want to receive, you must first give." 2 full days passed. The beggar did not ask a single passenger for a single coin. He sat quietly in a corner, his mind completely occupied with one big problem: what can a poor man like me give to others? On the third morning, while sitting near the outer edge of the railway tracks, he noticed something beautiful. A small patch of vibrant, colorful wild flowers was blooming stubbornly out of the dirt near the iron rails. Their bright yellow, purple, and red colors caught his eye. Suddenly, like a lightning bolt, a brilliant idea struck his mind. What if instead of just taking, I start trading? He thought excitedly. What if I offer a gift in return? Every time a passenger gives me a coin, I will give them a beautiful flower as a token of appreciation. Determined to change his life, he walked over to the tracks, gently plucked a handful of the freshest wild flowers, and returned to his usual begging spot on the main platform. A few minutes later, a passenger walked past and handed him a small coin. Instead of just taking it and walking away, the beggar smiled warmly, held out a bright yellow flower, and placed it gently in the traveler's hand. The passenger was surprised, accepted the flower with a genuine smile, thanked the beggar, and boarded the train with a happy face. As the days turned into weeks, something magical happened. More and more passengers started to notice him. People appreciated the beautiful gesture. He noticed a very clear pattern. As long as his basket was full of fresh, colorful flowers, people gave him money very generously. But the moment he ran out of flowers, his donations dropped down to zero. It is absolutely true, the beggar realized, his understanding of the world expanding. People naturally love to receive something of value in return for their money. One beautiful afternoon, while he was busy exchanging his flowers for coins, he spotted the familiar face of the businessman sitting near a train window. Excited, proud, and eager to show his progress, the beggar rushed over to the carriage window. "Sir, please look at me today," the beggar said with a proud smile. "Today I'm not just asking for money. I have something beautiful to give you in return. If you offer me cash, I will give you these fresh flowers." The businessman smiled broadly with genuine pride. He reached into his pocket, handed the beggar a large bill of cash, and carefully took a few flowers. Looking at the glowing face of the beggar, the businessman said, "You have finally understood the true value of exchange. Today, you are no longer just a beggar. Today, you have officially become a businessman." The train blew its loud whistle and departed from the station. The beggar stood there watching the tracks, but his internal world had completely changed. The businessman's parting words caused an explosion of dignity inside his heart. Am I really a businessman now? He pondered over this thought for many hours. Then, a sudden wave of ultimate clarity hit him. I finally know the secret to success. I am not a beggar anymore. I am a trader. People aren't giving me coins out of mere pity. They are paying for a beautiful product that makes them smile. This means I run a legitimate business. Fueled by this new identity and newfound respect for himself, he made a bold, life-altering decision. He picked up his empty basket, walked out of the railway station gates, and vowed never to return as a beggar ever again. 6 months later, at that exact same bustling railway station, two neatly dressed, professional men in elegant suits crossed paths on the platform. They exchanged a polite, firm handshake, but one of them had a highly confused and curious look on his face. "Excuse me, sir," the first man asked, squinting his eyes. "Do I know you from somewhere? Your face looks very familiar." The second man smiled warmly and replied, "Yes, sir. We have actually met twice before, right here on this very train platform." The businessman frowned, trying his best to remember the face. Then his eyes widened in absolute shock. "Wait, it can't be. You're the flower beggar, the one I refused to give money to and who later sold me flowers." The former beggar laughed softly, standing tall with pride. "Yes, sir, that was me. But today I am no longer a beggar. Thanks to your advice, I started a wholesale flower supply business. Today, I am traveling on this train to expand my business operations into the next major city." The businessman was completely astonished. "That is absolutely incredible. What caused such a massive, rapid transformation?" The flower seller smiled and said, "You taught me one of life's greatest truths. We only truly receive when we first choose to give." That day, I realized I was never actually trapped as a beggar. I was a businessman all along. I just had to change the way I saw myself. My dear friends, your life is entirely shaped by how you choose to view yourself. If you firmly believe you are small, weak, or helpless, you will remain trapped in that reality forever. But the moment you recognize your inner potential and understand that you must create value for others, you open the doors to true greatness. Never limit your own potential. See yourself as strong, capable, and built for success, because when your thoughts change, your entire future changes with them. So friends, this was the last part of our story. If you liked the video, please hit the like button and subscribe to our channel for more stories. Comment below and let me know how you liked the story. See you in the next video. Bye bye.